In 1944, a single German soldier armed with this weapon held off an entire Allied squad for over 30 minutes. What you're about to see isn't just a list of World War II guns. These are the weapons that changed warfare forever, from secret Soviet designs to Nazi Germany's most feared creation. We're counting down the 7 most advanced infantry weapons of World War II. And trust me, number 7 will blow your mind. Let's get into it. Starting at level 1, we have America's M1 Carbine. And before you say it's just another rifle, hear me out. This weapon was revolutionary because it filled a gap nobody knew existed. American officers, truck drivers, and support troops needed something lighter than the M1 Garand, but more powerful than a pistol. Enter the M1 Carbine, weighing just 5.5 pounds, half the weight of a standard rifle. What made it advanced? It was semi-automatic, when most nations still issued bolt-action rifles to half their forces. It used a revolutionary short-stroke gas piston system that was decades ahead of its time. And here's the kicker. Over 6 million were produced, making it the most produced American small arm of the war. Soldiers loved it for urban combat and jungle warfare. You could carry twice the ammunition, move faster, and still hit targets accurately up to 300 yards. The M1 Carbine wasn't the most powerful weapon on this list, but it changed how armies thought about equipping their troops. And this is just level 1. We're just getting started. Level 2 brings us to the Eastern Front with the Soviet PPSH-41, the weapon that the Germans feared more than Soviet tanks. Picture this. It's minus 40 degrees Celsius at Stalingrad. German weapons are freezing and jamming. But the PPSH-41? It keeps firing. This submachine gun was built like a tractor. Simple, reliable, and absolutely brutal in close combat. Here's what made it advanced. It could fire 1,000 rounds per minute from a 71-round drum magazine. Think about that. While a German soldier was reloading his MP40 after 32 rounds, a Soviet soldier with a PPSH had fired 71 rounds and still had ammunition left. The Soviets produced over 6 million of these during the war. That's more submachine guns than the rest of the world combined. German soldiers would actually drop their own weapons to pick up captured PPSH-41s. That's how good it was. It was so effective that the German army officially modified captured PPSH-41s to use their own ammunition. When your enemy steals your weapon design and uses it against you, you know you've created something special. The distinctive sound of the PPSH became the soundtrack of Soviet victory. Now we're hitting level 3 with one of the rarest and most innovative weapons of the war, Nazi Germany's FG-42. This weapon was designed for elite Fallschirmjäger, the paratroopers, and the requirements were insane. It had to be a rifle, a light machine gun, and light enough to parachute with. Most engineers said it was impossible, but Germany built it anyway. The FG-42 could fire semi-automatic for precise shots, or fully automatic for suppression. It fired the full-power 8mm Mauser rifle cartridge, the same round used in bolt-action rifles, but from a weapon that weighed just 10 pounds. That's lighter than most submachine guns firing pistol ammunition. The innovation here was incredible. It used a straight-line stock design that reduced recoil, a side-feeding magazine so you could aim while prone, and a built-in bipod. This weapon had features that wouldn't become standard until assault rifles appeared 20 years later. Only about 7,000 were ever made because they were expensive and complex to produce, but every single design element influenced post-war weapons development. The M60 machine gun, the AK-47's operating system, they all borrowed ideas from the FG-42. It was a weapon ahead of its time, built by a regime that was running out of time. Level 4 is where things get serious. We're talking about the MG-42. Buzzsaw. Allied soldiers called it Zipper because its rate of fire was so fast it didn't sound like individual shots, it sounded like fabric tearing. The MG-42 could fire between 200 to 1,500 rounds per minute. That's 25 bullets every second. Here's a terrifying fact. Allied command told soldiers that if they heard an MG-42 open fire, they had about 3 seconds to find cover before the gunner could adjust his aim. 3 seconds. What made it advanced wasn't just the rate of fire. The entire weapon was designed around a concept called general purpose machine gun. One weapon could be used with a bipod for squad support, mounted on a tripod for sustained fire, or even mounted on vehicles and aircraft. Before the MG-42, armies needed 3 different machine guns to do those jobs. The engineering was brilliant. It used stamping and welding instead of expensive machining, so it was cheap and fast to produce. You could change the barrel in under 5 seconds without tools, and it was so reliable that modern armies still use updated versions today. The German military currently uses the MG3, which is basically an upgraded MG42. A single MG42 could pin down an entire platoon. That's not just firepower, that's psychological warfare. We've reached level 5, and this is where everything changes. The Sturmgewehr 44, the world's first true assault rifle, initially banned this weapon. Let that sink in. The gun that would define infantry combat for the next 80 years was so revolutionary that even the Führer didn't understand it at first. German soldiers on the Eastern Front were facing a problem. Their bolt-action rifles were too slow in close combat, but their submachine guns were useless beyond 100 meters. They needed something in between. The STG-44 was the answer. It fired an intermediate cartridge, less powerful than a rifle round, but more powerful than a pistol round. This meant soldiers could carry more ammunition, control the weapon on full auto, and still engage targets at 400 meters. It was the perfect balance. The name literally means Assault Rifle 44, and every modern assault rifle, the AK-47, the M16, the M4, traces its DNA back to this weapon. The STG-44 invented a category. When German soldiers got their hands on it, battlefield reports were unanimous. This weapon was a game changer. Units equipped with the STG-44 had significantly higher combat effectiveness than units with traditional rifles. Only about 425,000 were made before the war ended. Imagine if Germany had started production 2 years earlier. The STG-44 didn't just advance weapons technology, it defined modern infantry combat. Level 6 might surprise some of you, but hear me out. The M1 Garand earned this spot for one simple reason. While most armies in World War II were still using bolt-action rifles that their grandfathers carried in World War I, every American infantryman carried a semi-automatic rifle. That gave the US a massive firepower advantage. A soldier with a bolt-action rifle could fire maybe 15 aimed shots per minute. A soldier with an M1 Garand could fire 50. In combat, that difference meant American squads could put out 3 times more firepower than their opponents. The M1 Garand was the first semi-automatic rifle to be standard issue for an entire army. That's revolutionary. It used an 8-round en-bloc clip system that was fast to reload, and the weapon was accurate out to 500 yards. Here's what really makes it level 6, reliability. The M1 Garand fought in deserts, jungles, Arctic cold, and beach landings. It was dropped in salt water, buried in sand, frozen in snow, and it kept firing. American troops trusted this weapon with their lives from Normandy to Iwo Jima. The technological edge it gave American infantry cannot be overstated. When you can fire 3 times faster than your enemy and reload in seconds, you control the battlefield. And finally, Level 7. The weapon that changed everything. The Browning automatic rifle, the BAR. Arguably the greatest firearms designer who ever lived. The BAR was technically a World War I weapon, but it reached its full potential in World War II. Here's why it's number 1. The BAR was a fully automatic rifle that fired the powerful 30 CISO-6 cartridge. That's the same round used in the M1 Garand, but the BAR could fire it at 600 rounds per minute on full auto. It gave every American infantry squad their own portable machine gun. What made it advanced? Versatility. The BAR could be used for suppressive fire like a light machine gun, but it was mobile enough to be carried and fired from the shoulder. A single soldier with a bar had the firepower of an entire World War I squad. The weapon weighed 20 pounds loaded, which sounds heavy until you realize it gave one soldier the firepower of 5. In the Pacific Theater, the bar was absolutely crucial for jungle warfare, where squads operated independently. On D-Day, bar gunners led the assault off the beaches. But here's what really makes it Level 7. The bar stayed in service until Vietnam. A weapon designed in 1917 was still considered effective 50 years later. That's not just advanced, that's timeless. Veterans who carried the bar called it the gun that won the war. And when you look at its impact, it's hard to argue. So there you have it. The 7 most advanced infantry weapons of World War II. From the lightweight M1 carbine to the legendary bar, these weapons didn't just fight a war, they revolutionized how wars are fought. Which weapon surprised you the most? Drop a comment below. And if you learned something new today, hit that subscribe button because we've got more historical countdowns coming your way. Next time, we might be ranking the deadliest fighter planes of World War II, or maybe the most feared tanks. Let me know what you want to see. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.